Hey, listen, you've heard of pillow talk, right? Well, this is palette talk. I want to talk about the palette for a second. Real important when you're painting. Now, for years and years and years, I would just throw paint on a palette. Every day, it was different. It didn't matter. It was just haphazard, random, never thought much about it. Did a lot of the mixing and cajoling of paint and tone and color on the canvas. And when I got into restoration, oh brother, it was fun playing on my own canvases. But when I was playing on other people's, well, I was a little different. So I had to develop a system where I could color match and value match at the same time. So, I could earn a decent hourly rate instead of saying, oh yeah, I can fix that patch for a couple of $100 and then spend all week on it. You know what I'm saying? Especially with these guys. This was a huge antique wall. So anyway, I got to figure out how to do a color matching system with values added as a binary, the binary codes that I mentioned. This palette talk is color and values. So what I have here are colors that are laid out from the value of the lightest to the darkest. I have a streak of dark paint, black, going down, and I have a streak of white. And I have these fifths. They're fifths of value system on yellows, reds, greens, and blues. From the lightest to the darkest, like aqua, Mediterranean, cerulean, cobalt, and phthalo. So I go down the scale. I have a light Naples, darker Naples, and then a yellow ochre, raw sienna, raw umber. In the warms and my reds is an orange, light cad, dark cad, alizarin crimson, and some burnt sienna. I have some apple green, permanent green, chrome green, viridian, and sap. Just coming down the line, just like they used to do in 35mm photography. You were flying blind. You were like in the old days, if you were in an old plane and you were running around in fog, right? Flying around in fog. You really couldn't see what you were doing. And until computers came along and digital photography, you had to understand where your meter was, whether it was going up or down. And so you took a whole bunch of pictures, and maybe after a roll or two, you'd get a good one. And it was real expensive. And when digital photography came along, you could see these photographs right before you took them, metering up and metering down with their exposures. And then you could do timing and all that with this digital help. And you had these previews, which was wow. Now you can fly around in fog because there is no fog because you see what you're photographing. But in the old days, it was guesswork. Well, that helped me with painting because that's how I used to think with increments, like this. This is ancient Greece. And they were trying to figure out momentum and position at the same time. So they busted up stuff into increments, just like they did in physics with the atom. They're the ones that came up with the concept of the atom, even though they didn't have electron microscopes or anything. Well, they didn't have movie cameras either, but they were doing stop-action photography. So when I talk about the palette, all I'm talking about is color and value in the same application. So I just spread it out a little bit, kind of like what happens on these canvas drawings sometimes. I can see the spaces in between. And when I'm loading and applying the palette knife, you'll be able to see why there's some space and why I have my tones as well as my color. It's a binary palette. Get ready, Park. Wave.